what I think we can do is we can make it so that if you're doing any of these charts like this, once you've created a chart, you could say, take this chart and use it in my bot,
Oh yeah, true.
right? And it
Okay.
could just like it's all Python code. So you just copy that code from one spot over to the other.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way that we've been building this going forward. So it's like you can do all this analysis, do all your graphs, all that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
then when you're ready, you could say, okay, I want it to trade when it's above here, when it's doing this, show me that on a graph, blah, blah, blah. And say, okay, take that and turn that into a strategy. There you go. Right? I think that'd be really powerful. Right? Because
Yeah.
you could start off by like just doing chart analysis, whatever, and just placing trades manually. And then once you start seeing that you're doing this more often, you can say, okay, well, let's turn this into a bot and let's start having this thing get scheduled on a regular basis. Right? Okay, so let's see this here. So August 11th, August 3rd, June 24th. Nope, it's not doing it. June 16th, June 8th. So we asked it to do daily, but it did not do daily. Okay, so we found an issue here. Okay, so far this is actually working pretty well. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by the changes that you made. However, we ran into a snag. Right, so the first part was really good. Read over this conversation that I had with it and this AI agent. But I told it to make a Fibonacci. It did a good job with that. Then I told it to add stochastic oscillator and volume, and it did a pretty good job with that. Although there's one little detail here in that the volume is not lining up to the rest of the graph. And it's kind of in a pretty specific way. So if I like select volume at the bottom here, notice volume for March 20th, there's like a straight line down, but it does not line up with the circles in the line graphs, right? And then as I move through it, in the middle, they perfectly line up, right? The circles on the line graph line up exactly with the center of the bar for volume. But then as I go further right, they're off in the opposite direction, right? Like look here where on the right-hand side, I'm at the center of the volume bar, but the line graph has the circles, like the actual spots where it's on the line graph is off. So basically the volume and the line graph do not line up to each other properly. It's almost like the volume is compressed and the line graphs are spread out and they need to match up when you're looking at volumes and all that kind of stuff, or else it's confusing. It looks weird. Okay, and then another thing that went wrong here is things broke down when I asked it to change the chart to be daily cadence over the past 6 months. There's two failures that happen here. First of all, the running isolated Python test, the first one failed. Why did it fail? We need to figure out why it failed and make sure that we don't have failures like this again in the future. We need to avoid tool call failures in general. And then the second problem, and this is the bigger problem, is when it eventually actually worked, which is I'm glad that it retried and did it again and fixed itself. But the problem is I asked it for daily and it did not give me daily. It gave me weekly cadence here. I asked for daily and it gave me weekly, right? So it did not listen to me. So I'm wondering like, what exactly is the problem here? First, please just do the analysis around all this and tell me what's happening. And then let's talk about how to fix all these issues. I personally think we probably need an eval specifically around changing this chart to be daily cadence. And we probably need to have an eval around that. And then we need to figure out like why this thing didn't work. Because I've actually found that this is one of the biggest failure modes with this is if I tell it to go from monthly cadence to weekly cadence to daily cadence, right? It doesn't actually listen to me properly, right? Like what I mean by this is like, okay, the last data point is August 11th. The second to last is August 13th, so 8 days prior, but it should have been one day apart. The data point before that is July 24th, 2026. So that's, again, a week plus a bit more. Like it's not even like weekly. It's like 8 days apart each time, which is even stranger. If it was weekly, that would make a little bit more sense. But some of these data points they're apart from each other in really weird ways. Right? So I asked for daily and it did not give me daily. It gave me something that's not even really weekly either. I don't know what the heck this is. So we probably need to have evals or something like that around this to actually make sure that that works properly. Okay. What do you think about the look of this, by the way, Maurizio? Does it look good, or is there some ways that we can make it look better?
Well, I personally like it with bars better than line. With
Like
but
candlesticks?
huh? Yeah, the
Like
candlestick.
candlesticks? Yeah, okay.
Um, but yeah, this looks good because if you can see the red line when the blue line crosses the red line, it goes up positive, right? The only thing is that maybe at the time intervals might be a little bit different, but it looks fine, you know. I think if we when we get to a daily, it would change it better. But monthly right there is just it's just too spread out gaps.
Yeah, yeah. So there's that, but then just like the general aesthetics of it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like the candlesticks better because you can see it in some of those wicks that you use in the candlesticks, kind of help you confirm some of your transactions. And because the line graph it helps in some sense, but yeah, I just like the candlesticks better.
Okay, so let's put the candlesticks in. But that's not even really what I'm asking. Like, okay, we'll put in candlesticks, we'll
Oh,
see what that
okay.
looks like.
Yeah, no, it's
I mean,
fine.
just generally like, does this look good? You know what I
Yeah, what
mean?
I would do just a little bit different though, yeah, I would put like the bottom, the overbought and oversold, the delta K and delta D. I would put that like highlighted different because it kind of looks like it's intertwined into that same graph table, you know? Just do like a different background for it and make the 80 and 20% maybe bold out more.
Right, because
Because when you
these are all
add the
different
Fibonacci to it,
subgraphs.
yeah, it's just gonna kind of like confuse the mind, the eyes, make that into a solid line. And make that
Okay.
background for just that in part of it just a little bit darker or lighter, just so
Okay.
you know it's different.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That makes sense. Yeah, because this one top part here, from here to here, this is the price chart. Then there's
Yep.
another subgraph, which